You have $5 billion to spend in the dumbest way possible. How do you spend it? Build the world's largest ball pit but put it in Kansas. So when the tornadoes hit, it's chaos. Edit. Thanks for the gold and silver, smiley face. Buy $5 billion worth of fake money. Open a bikini shop in Saudi Arabia. Empty a bay to look for seashells. World's biggest gravel pit. I launch thousands of tons of glitter into orbit to give Earth a Saturn-like ring. Send it to the Nigerian prince that is in need. Buy a small garbage tea apartment in NYC and spend the remaining $10 on an ice cream cone. I take my $5 billion bills and buy 10 billion quarters. Now I have twice as much. 5 billion lotto tickets, all for the same draw, all with the same numbers. Buy $5 billion worth of Coke and Mentos, pour it into a giant pit and watch what happens. You know how as a kid you sat in the tub and paddled your hands in opposite directions to create a whirlpool with you in the middle? Pay 1 million people $5,000 each to stand in the Hudson, East and Harlem rivers around Manhattan and begin paddling to see what would happen. I'm gonna put a beaded curtain along the entire US-Mexico border. In-app purchases. Spending money to get me some of that fake money to change the pixels on my video game character, woohoo. Go to Wall Street Bets and follow all their recommendations. Buy a $5 million painting, put it on auction. Participate in the auction and bid against yourself. Buy a parking space in NYC. What's the best way to win $1 million at a casino? Start with 5 billion. I would buy 1,639,000,000 packs of 1,500 ladybugs from Amazon. Then I would spend the remaining $1 million on releasing them over the Vatican City. Edit. Spelling. Invested on rubber ducks. Step 1. Get Willy Wonka to build me a house made out of chocolate. Step 2. House melts. Step 3. Get him to build another house in a cold place while I go eat the melted house. Step 4. Be poor, but fat. Slurpees. Everybody's gettin' fluffin' Slurpees, brain freeze the planet. We getting blue tongues. We gettin' red tongues, we's de juice. Get it in pennies and then pay off random people's collection debt by driving a dump truck full of pennies to each collection agency. Create a new brand of car. Give someone $5 billion worth of Reddit silver. To the people asking for silver, you're asking the wrong person, cause my wallet is as empty as my head. Buy Reddit. Ban prawn on Reddit. Buy 4chan. Ban prawn on 4chan. Buy Prawnhub. Ban prawn on Prawnhub. Have zero net worth. Task failed successfully. WinRAR. Drops millions of dildos from planes over Africated. So far I only count 30 repsons as referencing Toto. Have you gone soft Reddit? Make it rain Reddit gold. Literally donate it somewhere to destroy the economy. We need a hang glider. And a crotchless Uncle Sam costume. And I want the entire field of the largest stadium covered end to end with naked redheads, and I want the stands packed with every man that remotely resembles my father. Buy millions of gold shovels. A swimming pool of Dino nuggets. Buy Neymar and put him on the bench. Buy Greenland. Giant dildos attached to drones that will be flown out to all political events. Giant gummy bears. $5 billion worth. Buy 3 textbooks. A pizza party for the CEO of every company on the planet just to let them know how valued they are as an employee. Make an alpaca farm. As a fan of D&D, one word. Dice. I'd buy you a green dress, but not a real green dress, that's cruel. Edit. Thanks for the silver. Lottery tickets. Probably donate to a few streamers. Make 5 million envelopes with $1,000 in cash in each of them and distribute them to people I cross in the street for the rest of my life. Give it the guys planning the Area 51 raid. Loot boxes. Dig a hole. I would start a protest and I would pay everyone $500–1,000 to skip work and show up for the day. Just see what would happen if the whole of the working class stopped working for a day. I pay down America's national debt. No one will care and our government will blow through it again in days. Top that for a total waste. Buy a submarine and use it to explore space. Buying a bag of peanut M&Ms at the cinema. Buy a square meter of land in San Francisco. Burn it. Boats and hose. Voluntarily overpay my tax bill. 100-acre catio for shelter cats. Buy a duffel bag of fake cocaine that's actually baby aspirin. So one day if I have a baby and he has a headache, I can help with that. Donate it. Not to charity but to Mr. Beast. I would buy lots and lots of chocolate and a giant room that maintains a temperature that chocolate does not melt in. I would then hire the world's finest artisans of chocolate to craft a forest made entirely out of chocolate. I would then lobby to have it be considered a national park and charge people to go camping there. Gamer girl bath fluids. 5 million Apple monitor stands. Edit. My top comment of all time is no longer an office reference on an askreddit about happy fun time workers. Not sure how I feel about this change. I found a sports team. Give $1 to 5/7 people on the planet. Give it to the government, they'll find the dumbest use for me. Convert it all into one coins, these do exist, right? Dump them onto the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Hire every clown available to storm New Zealand and have the world's largest pie fight. Spend all of it on fortune cookies. Start a happy fun time toy company that only makes happy fun time toys that can't reasonably be used. Meth. Buy the rarest dollar and use it in vending machine. Bath bombs. To pour in the ocean and make it bright pink for no reason. Gotta consult Mr. Beast for that. I buy 5 billion $1 tacos. Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump airlines, Trump University. Oil exploration and extraction. Will make a ton of money and doom the entire human race and leave me with nowhere to spend it. A few Nokia 3310 to kill intruders. Make a nuke and drop it to wipe out almost 40% of the world's population. This should also be the dumbest way to keep population in control. Use it to lobby for anti-vax, global warming deniers, oil companies, and private prisons. Loot boxes. Not a cop but I did get stopped by one for eating a taco. I worked at a community college in La that had a high school right next to it. Well, there was a lot of drugs sold through the fence at the high school, so there was always a cops driving up and down the street between the schools. Couldn't get a parking pass since I just worked at the school, so I always parked on that street. Hit up Taco Bell for lunch and was sitting in my car eating my double-decker tacos, when a cop drove past. Next thing I know he's flipping a U-turn and heading right for me. He slides to a stop driver window to driver window and yells at, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" Stunned, I just said, "Eating my lunch." Well, he isn't buying it and says I'm hiding something. I just hold up my taco and looked so confused. He burst out laughing and peeled out. Saw him a few times after that and he always waved and had the biggest grin on his face. Former park ranger. First week in the job we pull up and see a couple of kids smoking in their car with the windows down. The city has an ordinance against smoking on park property, but it is too petty to give them a ticket. We approach the car and they are visibly nervous. My FTO looks through the windows and sees a couple of beer cans in the car. Bingo! We get them out and start running their info. They are all underage but old enough to smoke cigarettes. My FTO asks them where the beer came from. The driver says he recycles. FTO laughs and begins to search the car. I'm finishing up running their info, and these guys are being really respectful. FTO finishes searching the cab and goes to open the trunk. All of a sudden I hear him bust out laughing. He is laughing so hard he can barely breathe. He waves me over to look at the trunk of the car and it is level with crushed cans and bottles. My FTO said that he has heard that excuse for 20 years and this is the first time it was true. He walked up, uncuffed the driver and let him go. Edit. There were a lot of interesting questions in the comments and I felt the need to answer a few of them. FTO to field training officer. New officers are assigned a training officer out of the academy. The length of time they are assigned to an FTO varies by department. Handcuffed? In California and the US in general, cuff rights are very loose. The general rule of thumb is we can cuff you for officer safety if we have probable cause (PC) for a crime. In this situation, smoking in the park was all of the PC we need. Beer in car to open container laws vary from state to state. California has some of the stricter laws where you can get a Dewey if the keys are in the car and you are drinking. I have heard that you can get a Dewey as a passenger, but I would have to look that up. Park ranger. To the title of park ranger is very general. There are interpretive rangers, who are there as historians, naturalists, and for park information. There are firefighter park rangers, who go through full fire academies and drive fire trucks or brush trucks, pickup truck with a fire hose and water tank. There are safety officers, who are essentially security officers that have the power to issue parking tickets. They will often be assigned to police officer rangers for force multiplication. When tacked into a police officer ranger, they can perform most duties that a police officer can while under their direction. Then there are police officers. They either go through their department's own police academy or get added into other departments' police academy. Our department, City of Los Angeles, used LAPD and La Sheriff's academies. Some departments allow the police officer rangers to carry firearms, some do not. Clarification: I was not a police officer, I was an Emergency Hire Park Ranger (EHPR). At the time, the city had a severe shortage of officers and a huge homelessness problem in the parks. The City of Los Angeles voted to grant a handful of emergency positions to the department. As an EHPR, we went through security guard training, 837 power to arrest training, LAPD's dispatch school to get certified to use the SAWS criminal databases, wildland fire school, low, high-angle search and rescue school, and emergency medical technician (EMT) school. The appointment lasted 1 year or as long as it took to go through full police backgrounds and get into a police academy. I worked as a safety officer for a few years, then as an emergency hire for 11 months. I cleared backgrounds but decided to move to the private sector a week before the academy. This was a personal decision but influenced by the tension against law enforcement in 2015-2016 and the fact that our department did not arm police officer rangers but demanded full police officer duties. I have tremendous respect for our police officers and especially for the police officer rangers that are unarmed performing police duties. Those dudes have balls that clank. Note: don't quote me on the legal stuff, it is likely I am wrong.